everyone, and welcome to New Trials of Podcast. I'm Preya.
And I'm Melanie.
The New Trials of Cardcaptor Sakura, Syaoran, and Friends is a popular, ongoing fanfic by Wishluv, and it's based off of Clamp's Cardcaptor Sakura. And in each episode, we'll do a deep dive of the chapter. Let's get into it.
So I have nothing to bring up from our previous episode, but I just wanted to let you guys know, you've probably noticed my voice sounds a little bit off. I'm slightly under the weather, but yeah, so hopefully my voice isn't too annoying this episode. If it is, I apologize, but if I sound weird, that's why.
Well, I was sick for the whole last month, so I don't think it's as noticeable as you may think it is.
That's good.
So before we begin, I have a question for you. So in this chapter, the cast watches Tomoyo's Cardcaptor Sakura movie, and that allows her to win the contest. Now, I know there was a period of life where you uploaded a bunch of YouTube videos regularly. Now, do you watch those videos fondly, or is it cringe to you?
Some of my earlier videos are definitely cringy, especially because I didn't know how to edit and I was scared to edit too, because I was scared if I tried to crop it out, it would delete and stuff like that. So a couple of my first ones, which cringy are one of my most popular ones, are ones that you could just tell I just didn't know how to edit and I didn't know what I was doing. But some of them I can kind of look back and watch them fondly, but for the most part, I tend to try not to watch. How about you? Well, I guess, do you have any recordings or anything of you?
Yeah, so back when I was dancing at Arthur Murray, I used to record my dance numbers, and like back in the day, I was so proud of them because I worked so hard on them. Now that I know what dancing kind of looks like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so cringy. I was like, but I did work on those routines, and a lot of them, it's like, yes, that was a good number, and I would have fun. But then like other ones, it's like why did I put this on video?
Or in senior year, I took theater, and one of our senior group projects for theater was we had to put on a play, and we had to record each other, and then we had to watch it in class. And at the time, I thought, "Oh my God, I just gave the best performance ever." And then when we sat in class and watched it, I was just horrified. And then my friends used it as I say this in this friendly way, but they used it as blackmail against me for a couple years after that. Like anytime I dated a new guy, they were like, "I'm going to show him the video." And I was like, "Don't you dare."
Ah, yes, the past comes to haunt us. Now everything's on the internet, and everybody's like, yeah, so what?
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Uh, so today we're talking about Chapter 9, Ticket to Winter Rhapsody. This chapter was released in the summer of 2000. It's 5,846 words, so a bit less than the previous chapter. And Sakura and her friends are in the eighth grade in November this time. Let's go to the summary. Sharon continued the martial arts lessons with Sakura, despite the fact that it was winter. They're now joined by Tomoyo, Meilin, and Kiro-chan. The eighth grade class is getting ready for their winter concert, and Junior High is preparing for the Winter Wonderland dance party. After school, Tomoyo invited Sakura, Sharon, Meilin, and Kiro-chan over and told them that she won the Talented Young Director contest with Cardcaptor Sakura, the movie. Her prize included a trip to New York for eight. Along with the four of them, Tuya and Yukito would be coming along as chaperones, leaving two places. In order to save them from any surprises, they all sat down and watched Cardcaptor Sakura, reliving memories. However, both Sharon and Sakura excused themselves at the part when he told her she was his number one. Sharon commented that they were just silly childhood memories. They both knew that those days were in the past. The next day during music class, Sakura practiced the violin and was getting better every day. At one point, she felt something invisible choking her. As soon as Aaron took her to the nurse's office, the rope disappeared, letting Sakura breathe. While Sharon scolded Sakura for being so obvious, in her defense, she couldn't help it, Tomoyo was excited to catch the new footage.
So I actually looked up what rhapsody means because I wasn't for sure. And so there's like two different definitions. Like one is it's a portion of an epic poem adapted for recitation, or two, a miscellaneous collection. So what I think she named this chapter to be Winter Rhapsody is because the New York saga is a collection of chapters. So I could be wrong, but I think that's kind of what her thought process was.
Cool. I never even thought to think of doing a deep dive of the word Rhapsody, so I'm glad you did.
Because I told you last chapter that I didn't know how to say it. So I looked it up again today because I wanted to make sure I said it right. And so when I was looking it up today, I was looking up the definition of it and I was like, oh, who knew?
Oh yeah. No, that's gonna be cool because like I know we're jumping ahead, but New York is gonna be fun because the airport has its own chapter and it's not just a one and done. It's like a good chunk of chapters that chronicles the whole trip.
Oh, I can't wait. I've started recording it and it's so much fun.
So as soon as this chapter started, I felt like I was one with Sakura because just today I was working on my roof and it was the first day it snowed in Montreal. So you can imagine how cold it was.
I wish you guys could see Priya right now. She's like in a heavy jacket, a scarf, and a hat.
Yeah, there's currently no heat in the house because of the renos. But here I am podcasting while my boyfriend is working away.
She looks she looks a lot like how Maylin looks in this chapter during the 5 a.m. morning workout where she's just swaddled in blankets. So cute.
And I noticed that the script style for the first time when it's like the character's name and text and character's name and text. And if other audiobook listeners out there wondering why Sakura's name was just dropped with no follow-up, it's because in the text it was just ellipses because she was just lost at words for the shenanigans.
That was very hard to figure out how to record. Like I think I re-recorded that 4 different times and I still wasn't 100% proud of it at the end of it, but it was just really hard to kind of just wrap my head around how to do it. But I think I got there eventually, but yeah, that was kind of hard.
Yeah, no, I was like, I know there's something more to it, but it can't be expressed. So I dove into the chapter and I'm like, it's like Sakura dot dot dot.
There's also a part in there where Syaoran cusses and it's the like symbols and I wasn't sure how to do that. And so I was like or something. I don't know what I said, but
oh, you know what you did? You just omitted it. So it was like it's like a radio edit.
I was like, well, should I just cuss? And I was like, no, I want to stay close. I want to stay, true to the work. So I decided not to cuss, but
in this chapter, we get introduced to not only the winter concert, but the upcoming Winter Wonderland. Now, on my end, I never really had to worry about anyone asking me out to dance because I didn't even like dances to begin with. And I've only been to them in my graduating year in high school. And by then, I was just so excited to hang out with my friends that I couldn't care about a date.
we had dances quite a bit, honestly. Like I think they started in 7th grade for us. And then they were pretty constant, like all through high school and whatnot, like prom here you can't go unless you're like a junior or senior, or if a junior or senior asks you to prom. So I didn't go my freshman or sophomore year, but of course my junior and senior year I did. And then homecoming is also a pretty big thing out here too. Although homecoming, at least in my little country school, we didn't like dress up in like the full regalia or anything like that. It was you went in jeans and like a cute shirt and stuff like that. But now I was trying to think, does another school dance happen in this story?
Well, I know that there's like the winter dances. Tomoyo, like Aki, he hosts one at his place. Um, and in Arc 3, the Christmas party, that I don't know if that's also Tomoyo's house, if I'm talking about the same thing. That's when SNS are going like are each other's dates. Um, let's see. Yeah, because I know that Aki definitely hosts one. I feel that Tomoyo hosts one. It's hard to say. When it
Hmm.
comes to school dances, I know that they do exist, but I can't really wrap my head around them. Uh,
I was trying to think because I don't think there's another specific like school dance chapter in my head. I don't think there is.
yeah, there's parties. Yes. Like
Yeah.
in New York, there was the young directors party. That's gonna happen. And
Hmm.
there was the masquerade ball, and then there's Tomoyo's uh
Fashion
Vogue
show.
Nippon like
Hmm.
fashion show. Like yeah, so
Hmm.
I think it's just they seem to mature themselves out really quickly out of
Hmm.
school, and because of their extracurricular activities, they have
Yeah.
opportunities to have other events. Because are there events and new trials? Yes, most definitely. Sakura has like a string of dresses that Wish Chen lovingly dresses her in. But as far as school dances goes, I think this could be the only the school is hosting a dance and here are the characters. Ah,
I'm pretty sure. I'll look into it a little bit and I might bring it up in correction corner next time. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the only like school official dance, but I'll look into it.
hmm. So, as we mentioned before, this chapter is also set up for the New York Saga. And I love the letter that Tomoyo got because clearly it was a love letter from Wish Chan to Clamp.
This whole chapter, like we were kind of chatting before we started this audio call together, but yeah, this whole chapter is basically Wish Chan's love letter to Clamp, and it's just the cutest thing.
I don't even know how Tomoyo was able to keep a secret this big from her best friend.
Yeah, well, yeah, she's I can't even put it into words. I wouldn't be able to. I am not good about keeping secrets. It's usually written all over my face.
And did you notice that this chapter was the first time that we see the name Tanaka
Oh, Tanaka,
or
yeah,
Tanaka? Yeah.
that's true. Because
Because, yeah, it's
hmm
signed.
hmm So this guy, he's probably Miho's dad's brother. Is
I
that what
think it's
you're?
I think it's the uncle. I think once we
Hmm.
meet Miho in New York, she's gonna like, yeah, this is my uncle's company, blah 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 blah. So
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure it's Miho's uncle.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and then later, we'll meet Tanaka Kesuke,
Yes.
but he hasn't popped up yet.
Yeah, yeah. Much later.
Yeah, much later.
Or really.
We won't go there, maybe. Well, I don't know. I guess it's not a true spoiler alert because those of you that are listening probably know.
Okay, so if you were Tomoyo, you had 8 tickets, you invited your best friends and 2 chaperones. Would you invite 2 twins that you hardly know, or would you just wave them?
I remember when I first read this, I was like, why? But yeah, I don't know. Or else I feel like the safer option would have been to invite Chiharu and Takashi, because then she could at least say, well, they're a couple, and I don't see Rika and Nako being like, how dare you not invite me, because Rika has a lot of responsibilities and Nako seems pretty level headed, but I could see why Wish Chan had to do it,
Of
of
course, of
course,
course.
of course, but
For the plot, we know exactly why. But I think in the end, it's not so much like Naoko and Rika minding. It's more about like Tomoyo feeling bad that she couldn't include the 2 of them on the trip.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, I wouldn't have invited 2 kids I like barely knew.
Awkward.
Yeah. And it was kind of funny in this well, I don't know if it's this chapter.
It's the
But
next like this chapter, she just still didn't know that she was gonna invite the twins.
yeah, well maybe I'll bring it up in a different
Hmm.
but here pretty soon we kind of see Erika kind of acting friendly with all of them and it kind of threw me off a little bit. Because she's definitely not like that in like in the fourth arc. Because by then she's just kind of like, I'm the villain. I don't care. I'm just gonna be me,
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Now, the only thing I don't understand about Tomoyo's movie entry is that it sounds like all three seasons of CCS. How long is this movie?
I was thinking of that too because even I think the first well the I think like the CCS movie, the second movie, we're not going to talk about the first one, but it's at least almost 2 hours, I think. And
Yes.
so yeah, I don't know how she managed. I mean, some cards I think you can kind of skirt around a little bit, but yeah, I would think it'd have to be at least maybe Titanic. Maybe it's a 3 hour epic Avatar.
Because it's like just the way that they were commenting on this and that. And it's like even the littlest things. It's like, oh my gosh, this is, if you think about how long the Card Captor Sakura series is, that's how long her movie is. But they're not going to sit through all of that. It would be disqualified off the bat.
Oh, I looked it up. So the second Card Captor movie is an hour and a half. It's like a normal movie. But yeah, I would think it would have to at least be 2 hours in order to because you have to introduce the intricate plot and then develop the whole relationship and then get to the climax.
And here I am thinking, yeah, it can't be shorter than 5.
Yeah, I mean, it must have took some big editing chops onto me. And I think it's pretty funny that, Sakura was like, how did you manage to record most of this stuff? And, to me, I was like, oh, I have my way.
Did you notice that in the movie, Sakura gives Syaoran a taka instead of scarf? So that's like what's going on is that we're watching, basically, rather than watching the anime, they're watching an animated version of the manga.
Oh my God, my brain didn't even go there. But yeah, that makes sense though. Because, at this point, just the manga, right? That she would know. Well, I guess she'd know sorta because Maylin is there. So, but my brain didn't go there.
Then there's that sad scene where like Sakura and Sharon excuse themselves when it's like, oh yes, silly childhood memories. It's like, knife in my throat, my knife in my heart.
Oh, they're so frustrating during this first arc and into the second arc a little bit too. But it kind of throws me off that Syaoran is drinking soda because he doesn't seem like he'd be a soda drinker to me.
Not at all, but I love that little special effect that you sneaked in there when he like banged his can.
Well, my loving husband, who I've been together with for 10 years, leaves Mountain Dew cans all over our house. So it just so happened when I sat down to record the audio chapter, I just had a Mountain Dew can right there.
That is so kismet. I love that.
It was the one time where I was like, oh, well, I guess I can't be mad at him for leaving a can out because I ended up needing it. Voicing Tomeo in this chapter was literally so much fun. Just like her enthusiasm, because it kind of mirrors my enthusiasm too for I about said for new trials as well, but for card captors, like she was just so much fun in this chapter, just how like giddy and happy.
Yeah, this is like Wish-chan bubbling up all her feelings about like because she writing new trials, she has a concert on new trials, can't really talk about the past that much. But this is the chapter where she just unleashed it all and gushed to her heart's content. So with the last scene of this chapter, we can make our way to Dark Horse's corner because the rope makes an appearance.
Yes, and at first because when it first popped up, I thought it was maybe the whip, and then it kind of clicked to me that it's actually the rope. I completely forgot they were two separate forces.
Yeah, it's so dangerous. It's just like she's in class and she can't breathe, and then you got stupid Syaoran saying it's like don't make yourself so obvious. It's like she was being choked. She can't help it.
Right. It's like I can't help my oxygen is literally leaving my body right now. Excuse me for not acting normal.
Okay, moving on to fan art spotlights. So, a little bit of history. Back in 2017, that was the last time that I started my New Trials reread. I had a blog called New Trials Revisited, and every blog post came with a fan art. So chapter 9 was the first time there was no existing fan art for the chapter. That's why I drew the rope in action. And if anybody knows about my art, I used to really rely on Microsoft Paint for all of my previous artworks for New Trials. But then I got encouragement from Sebastian and from Kiri Chan saying, "Oh, you should draw your own pictures." And this is one of the first pictures that I drew just like freehand. And rather than relying on Microsoft Paint. And then a few years later, I was doing like 30 days of New Trials challenges and this is kind of the beginning of all of that, going from digital and just trusting my own skills as an artist.
I mean, yeah, that's what my face would look like. But you could tell, yeah, your drawing style just gets better and better, but so cute. I mean, cute, like not cute that she's getting strangled to death, but
I used Wish Chan's chibi, like her fan art of all the chibi characters as a reference.
mm-hmm. But yeah, that would be my face too.
Okay, we're ready for the author's notes.
All right. So we actually have two author's notes for this chapter. We have Wish Chan's initial reaction for CCS ending in the manga, which I think is super fun to read. So I'm going to read that first. Then we might talk about that. And then I'll read the author's note and then we'll talk about that one. So, CCS could not have ended. Okay, I'm calm now. During the time that I was writing this chapter, I learned about what happened to S&S at last. It can't have ended. Now my whole fanfic is ruined. Okay, just to clear things up, some things might be contradictory to the beginning of this fanfic to what I'll write in later chapters. I did try and make some predictions when I started to write New Trials. Example, Syaoran going back to Hong Kong, Syaoran coming back in junior high, but still I'm not a mind reader, a clamp. I wanted to follow as close to the original happenings as possible. Those who do know the ending just don't be too technical in the details. Let's just say Syaoran and Sakura do admit feelings, teddy bear exchange, all this stuff did happen and they told each other that they love each other. My prologue is messed up since it doesn't seem to match with the manga. But I'll try to stick as close as I can to the real details. Someday I might rewrite it. Right now, the case is Syaoran has come back. There's a new enemy and they haven't talked to each other about their feelings for each other yet. Uniforms look like and what Syaoran would look like when he looks a little older. Yes, we all did complain that he was too young. Now, I'm young. But I do hate endings. Why else would I name my fanfic New Trials, the new beginning, etc.? Someday I might do a major editing though.
The first thing I think about is how 2022 Wish Chan probably still doesn't like endings because New Trials hasn't ended yet.
It's so true. We say that with all the love in the world.
Now, I am personally so glad that Wish Chan started New Trials before CCS wrapped up because that would have definitely changed. Well, I don't know how much. Like in this chapter, like she was just visibly upset that it's like, oh no, it doesn't work. And I'm like, yeah, but you found a workaround pretty quickly. And I really like the way that we got to see the way she pictured things versus how things played out. Because if she knew how things played out, she would just jump on that and continue New Trials as is. But just to see the intuition she had about CCS and seeing it play out in real life, I think that's super cool.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I feel like it definitely would have changed the tone in the beginning. I think would have definitely have been different. I think we probably would have got some type of scene that's going to be coming up in 2 chapters from now a lot sooner. So yeah, I agree with you. I'm kind of glad she didn't quite know the ending. That way she could kind of start her own story the way she wanted to. And it kind of it differentiates it from CCS, but in the best way possible, Okay. So then her actual author's note at the end of the chapter is, hee hee, so what's with the talented young director contest? What a cool grand prize, huh? This is the introduction to the CCS crew Fun, exciting, and confusing winter. Lots of things are introduced. Example, Winter Wonderland, Winter Concert, and the New York trip. Keep all these in mind. The card Captor Sakura movie. So what else did you think Tamayo did with all those video clippings? She entered it into a contest and won. By the way, no way did her video come out in North America to be broadcasted as card captors. It was uncut and true to the point. Sorry for many spoilers. I tried to keep them minimal, but the point of SNS seeing the video and all their past adventures is to remind them of those happy days gone by. If you aren't very familiar with the details in the story, the part might be confusing since there were just references to keep spoilers minimal, but sigh. It's a hard life. By the way, it's a very hot summer right now. Why am I writing about winter when it's summer? Because I heard somewhere that to keep from getting hot, you should think about cold things. Actually, I planned out these following chapters last winter, 1999, but I never got around to writing them till now. Now watch out for the next chapter. Don't kill me. Comments are welcome at our email. You may notice that the story is finally moving on.
And to go back to Rhapsody, it's like, it's not only New York, but it like past Wish Chen just confirmed that this includes the concert, this includes the dance, and New York. So she must have had like, an idea of Rhapsody meant, and this is just the beginning of everything to come until the end of Arc 1.
Yeah, because basically, like, I think it's like chapter 13 and on, because chapter 13 is the Twisted Winter concert, then it's the Wonderland, the Christmas chapter, then starts New York. But even before that, we have, Icy Barriers, which is winter themed, and Too Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday.
Oh well, the sooner we get there, the sooner we can move on to happier times in Arc 2.
Y'all, 2 episodes from now, Preya and I are not going to be okay.
It's been like, what, 22 years, and we still can't get over this.
Still not okay. Full disclosure, I usually 100% skip that chapter when I do my own rereads. And so when I recorded it for the first time, a couple weeks ago, it was the first time I was physically rereading again. And I don't know how long. And then to have to actually act it out, I was just emotionally dying.
Well, at least this time we have each other.
That's true. Can you just fly to Kansas just for a little bit so I can just hold your hand while we talk about this?
Moral support.
I'd fly to you, but seeing you just like covered in head to toe right now with winter gear makes me not want to go to Canada.
Yeah. Wait till it's warmer. You have been listening to New Trials, the podcast, where it must rain for there to be a rainbow.
You've been listening to New Trials, the podcast. Please be sure to check out the audiobook version of this podcast that you can find anywhere you can find this podcast, such as Anchor and YouTube. Also be sure to check out the Facebook fan page for New Trials, the fan fiction. That is where a big majority of our discussions happen nowadays. We also have an email that you can send us chapter discussion questions to ntthepod@gmail.com. And be sure to stick around next week when we discuss chapter 10, Icy Barriers.